Might be count time though on the Fed. DC jail though. They might gotta go in. Yeah, we live?
Make sure they can hear. All righty.
Is it?
Yeah, should be live.
Yeah, we live.
Just like that.
Just like that, huh?
Yep. Everybody we gotta keep it rated PG. Yep. Everybody gotta keep it rated PG. Guys, like me, I think you. I don't have a mic hooked up or nothing like that, right? Okay. So I gotta get close.
It's good for like that.
Alright. Testing 1 2 1 2. Everybody wanna give a sound check?
Yes.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Everybody's clear.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Everybody's clear.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Alright, we gonna let them know. We good to go. Everybody ready?
Right. Yes.
You on it
Let's
right
go.
now?
This era of social media.
Yeah, I know. We probably went a whole hour trying to get this together.
That's okay. Happy Easter. God's in control.
Yeah, we on live right now. So right now this is the current live stream. We on YouTube. Only these two right here can get us on YouTube because I'm semi-retired from YouTube, but I'm back up. I have no time for YouTube right here. We had an outstanding interview last time, so I definitely want to keep an update and see what's going on. I know it's a lot of changes since the last interview, so I definitely want to give an update on everything like that. First and foremost, how are you doing?
Doing wonderful. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, no problem. Who we got right here on the left?
James Hutchins.
James Hudson.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the one and only right here. So we got two people right here. We're gonna definitely have a conversation right here. We're gonna speak about our last conversation, and I'm gonna speak about the few critiques that some people had in the comments section. So the first thing, and I gotta address this. Are you related to Mary Bowser? Everybody was like, you look just like her.
There is absolutely no relation, and as I kept telling them, those in my comments, that I have nothing to do with whether or not our ancestors came through the same slave plantation.
Right.
Deal with that one. That would be the only way there would be some relation, but no, absolutely not.
Yeah, y'all from DC wise, we from two different parts of town. You from Southeast, you from Northeast, so
Yeah.
upper Northeast, like uptown Northeast.
But that's how you know what a reputation is when people say they're not gonna vote just because of how somebody look. That means she tore this place down, right? Based on some people's opinion, I'm sure. But no, there's no relation.
Yeah, no relations at all. Yeah, right.
They said, she looked too much like Bowser. That's a no for me. I'm like, wow, DC, give me a chance. I'm fighting for the babies. Like, really? I've been changing my hairdo so they can see that, no relation. But nah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought that was kind of crazy. Like, you look just like her. I'm like, not really.
I didn't see it, but I guess depending on how I wear my hair, but I wear my hair natural. I'm a tomboy. We gotta look. We get deep, don't we?
Maybe this is a DC thing.
I don't know. Most of the folks that are chiming in that way feel some kind of way, I would imagine, and all you gotta do is give them something, and that's what they're gonna shoot for. But no relation officially.
No, definitely. One thing I want to say. One thing another critic say. I'm trying to think of it at this moment. I just had it on my head. At this moment was a lot of people had mentioned that. I'm trying to think of it at this moment. I'm kind of like fogged out right now. I'm gonna in fact, I'm gonna go to my next question right here. A lot of people was just like, how can we trust you? Because there was like a couple of, I'm gonna be very blunt with this one. It was kind of like sexist type of comments, like meaning that there were more less, like I guess people, being that it was a female mayor at one point. You know, we have a female mayor. They were kind of scared that the same exact things were going to happen with this female mayor. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of those kind of comments too.
You know, I love my city. The only reason I'm running is because there's so many folks that are not voting and that are being left out. That question tells me that we have work to do in our city. Because we look alike or because I'm a female, we're going to do the same thing. First off, we're not in the same political party. I'm independent for a reason. I've been independent since 2012 because I couldn't trust the people that they had chosen that we've elected in office. So I would believe that if folks do their research, find out who I am, to many families across the city, I'm Miss Rhonda. You know, I'm a mental health advocate. And anybody that knows how real mental health is failing in our city, they would understand I don't have time to play. As far as trust, I understand that. That's why I'm running. Our bonds of trust have been broken. And what we can't do is leave ourselves out of the political conversation because of trust. That's why I came out. I've been on the ground for 16 months, right? The website, www.rhondahamilton4dc.com, it gives them my platform. My telephone number is everywhere, 202-486-6037. Everything starts with an open heart and an open mind, right? I didn't come out to take it on the chin for the people that came before you and didn't do what they're supposed to do. And please, that would be a good reason not to vote again for someone who has let you down, left our communities in the place that they're in, and left our children going to schools and coming out with poor performance and educational outcomes. So I do understand that trust conversation. That's why I'm running. What I know is that when we know better, we do better. But to not vote because I'm a female, you know, that's something I would ask folks to do their internal work, because it takes a little more than that. I love DC just about as much as many of them do, and if we don't do something, we're going to lose it, and the conversation is going to be a little deeper than that.
Yeah, I thought that was a bad argument.
I don't take any of it for granted. I don't take any of it for granted. That's where we are. When you look at, and I said it in the last video, our numbers show and tell the story. Of almost 500,000 registered, 200,000, a little over 200,000 showing up. We have more people sitting on the sideline for those reasons. The trust factor, maybe I look like something, maybe that's just, you know, or look too much like her. Anything not to show up and do what we need to do, which is save our city. So 202-486-6037 is my number, and they can call me anytime, because if we're not going to have a conversation to just make a decision as important as saving our city, saving our community, saving our children, it's a two-way conversation, and I'm here at the table to have it. Yeah.
That's fine. No question. How did you feel when you found out Mayoral Bowser, she you know, said she's not going for another term?
I didn't feel anything. I didn't come forward worried about Mayor Bowser. I came forward to save my city.
Yeah, I know exactly
but
what you're saying.
I wasn't surprised. If we want to talk emotions, I wasn't surprised. Anybody that's been paying attention, as I have, as many of us on the ground have, she had done some things that probably was realistically understood that she wasn't going to run again. Mr. Trump and these Republicans have showed up in our town to take it. And she's the weak link at this time because of some of the moves she's made, some of the culture that's gone on down at that council. I don't make this up. The headlines told us the story. We've had one after the other whistleblower come forward, lawsuits go forward, and that speaks to how we're running our government. And I believe that the stakes are too high for her to take a chance on us finding out all her skeletons. So I believe she had to step aside, and that's not any shade. That's real. See, politics is affecting our lives. If we're not going to talk about this stuff genuinely, then we won't get out of this, right? So I'm not surprised she chose not to run. The stakes were higher. There were some things that she probably didn't want to have to answer to because it was too easy to have you believe that everything was okay. But anybody that's paying attention know that things are far from okay. So it didn't surprise me at all. I would have loved to have run again against her so that we could get some answers maybe to some of those questions, or just understand how she would respond, but that's in the rear view. Right now we need to look forward and save our city. Yeah.
A lot of people also in the comments last comment they was like, what is the politics?
The politics would be the 81 times wealth gap that continues to get wider. And folks are still looking for jobs. So, and tonight we're talking second chance. Many of our returned citizens, they're looking for stable housing. Many of our families have been broken, but yet and still we're building stadiums, and we're not fixing the city or the communities in the way that we can have a level understanding for our citizens. So the politics would be that we're building a stadium while we have 3 grocery stores east of the river and 70 plus west of the river. Right? The politics would be that we are considering to elect or vote for members of the council, which are my opponents, former and current, while the city has been failing on their watch. Politics is not to keep doing the same thing expecting that the results will be different. And that's why we must have the conversation.
Wow. Very different, very different. And I see, and speaking of the other members, you know what I'm saying, no disrespect towards them, but we're going to bring them up. Kenny McDuffie, you know, right now he's like in the lead. I believe it's somebody else that's also in the lead too, if I'm not mistaken, that's going for it. I can't think of her name at the moment.
Yeah, the 2 top Democrat candidates that they're putting forward. You won't hear me say it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. How do you feel about their positions, and what do you agree and what you disagree with their
You know,
positions?
I'm glad you asked me that question because it gives me an opportunity to drop a little knowledge. You know, a lot of folks in our city don't understand that we always have 2 elections. In June, we have the primary, and then in November, we always have the big election, which is the general. The primary election is just to decide who's going to be the top Democrat, who's going to be the top Republican candidate, and who's going to be the top Green Party candidate. And then they pass through to November to the big election where I will be because I'm an independent. So a lot of folks think, I make that point to say, a lot of folks think that when they vote in June, that's it. No, that's just to decide who's going to be the top Democrat. And of my opponents, both of the 2 names that you're mentioning or mean to mention, only one of them can come through. So once the dust is settled, then we'll be able to see who is coming through to the big election. Right now, the signage, the signature ballots and things like that, that is for the primary. I don't even get my signature ballots until June. So I get to hang out and do these wonderful interviews and keep talking to the citizens, mixing it up. So I'm banking on my undecideds because we've got to do something about that sideline set of voters that will not show up. And that's what I saw. And I didn't believe either one of them would bring them from the sidelines because they've been in office the whole time and the folks are not showing up. So I'm not worried about that. I came out to talk to the people. I'm not going to get into this big machine and who it should be because I don't think it's going to be neither one of them. Yeah, so I'm looking for what I really am excited about, if we must speak on it, is the fact that more people are getting engaged. But I'm worried that people are falling in love with a name or some sort of a homage that they want to pay to them from 10 years ago, 3 years ago. No. They can still be your friend and you can love them to death. But in politics, it's about taking care of business. And right now, the state of our city is so weakened that the Republicans and Mr. Trump want to take it. And that is on their watch. And so we want to talk about being accountable, having accountable leadership. And that is why I came forward. So I'm ready to have any conversation, as long as we're not going to show up and do the same thing and make the same mistakes.
Okay, no, definitely. Before I go to my next question, one thing, I'm going to go one last conversation that was in the comments. And you had brought this up because I think I brought this discussion up with you in the first interview. It was also, people were like, people were unfamiliar with you at that moment. Maybe people in Southeast DC, people in the neighborhoods that you helped, with mental health awareness and such, knew exactly who you are. But people in the whole District of Columbia from Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, they was like, who is this person? I think I asked the question in a previous interview, why didn't she go for counsel so people can get familiar with her first, etc. What would be your reply to that? Because a lot of people are very unfamiliar.
2 things. We have 700,000 citizens in this city. I'm almost sure that none of us know 700,000 citizens. That's number 1. Number 2, if you Google my name, it'll tell you who I am. and it'll tell you what I'm about and what I've been doing. And my answer to your question before it remains the same. I came forward to manage the affairs of our city appropriately and get us back on track. There are a lot of people that are asking these questions that are not even educated about the trouble that we're in terms of facing our home rule being taken. They take our city, then we're going to be having different conversations, and my concern is that not enough of us understand that. The truth of the matter is, again, we're out here, we're on the ground, we welcome them to reach out to us, that's why I gave my phone number, and we've done some really great work. A lot of folks do know me, and what I'm concerned about is that our folks in some areas, they do their homework and they look up on the border like they know who I am. They remember me from last time. And some people just don't. With that many people sitting on the sidelines not doing politics, I wouldn't imagine they would know me. And then the final point is I'm in mental health. I don't chase ambulances. I come a lot of times, I have to tip in, like you said, I'm in the community because the stigma's so thick. People don't want you to know that you're doing work with Dr. Hamilton, but I promise you, if they Google me, they'll sing a different tune because I've been doing the work. I just haven't been chasing the news trucks to tell you about it.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciate that, though. Just for that, people that are familiar with you. Now, you being an independent, neither a Democrat or Republican, independents usually have a little bit more difficult time running, like somewhat. In some cases it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but independents usually have much more of a harder time because, like you said, they don't have the machine and stuff like that. I have two questions on that. What is more your position, like as far as on the Democrat and Republican side? You know what I'm saying? Also, being is that how are you going to convince people, being that you are neither liberal or conservative in a way?
I love that question. Let me say this to you. What I can tell you is that under the blue leadership in our town, lives have not changed. Under the red leadership, lives have not changed. So what I do know is that it's time to be principle over party, and it's time for the people to choose their issues over and above these politics that I keep talking about. We have an 81 times wealth gap. That's real. We're wondering why our youth are gathering and they have something to say. They've got all this energy, but we don't have answers. Look at our council and our mayor fighting publicly about it. That's not a good look in front of the president and the Republicans, but the truth of the matter is this is the leadership that has led us down this path. And the truth of the matter is poverty and crime have always gone hand in hand. 81 times wealth gap is not going to get you closer to helping our families and our young people until you deal with the fact that our leadership has been managing our budget. We've had a lot of corruption in our government. There's a consequence when government doesn't work, right? Families are not housed. Fun fact, not very fun, but insert it. The mayor promised that she would deliver what? 36,000 houses? Over the course of the last decade? Over the course of the last decade, we've lost 40,000 black families. You tell me why. And you tell me how their method. That for me again? You know I'm gonna come bring you some numbers, right?
Repeat that one more time.
The mayor promised, and you can Google this as well, the mayor promised that she would deliver 36,000 houses, right? Over the course of a decade, right? That was her answer for affordable housing. Right. Last time we talked about housing, right? I told you, are they having a conversation with you or not? Right? So now go back. They show up, tell you what you want to hear, and then we don't come back and fact check them. So the mayor promised that she would deliver 36,000 housing units, right? And obviously the belief is that we're going to have some affordable housing units. We're going to fix housing. Well, she's celebrating because guess what? She delivered on her promise. The district got 36,000 new housing units, right? Now go check the other stat that tells you over the last decade, while we was building more housing, we were losing more blacks. 40,000 is the tune, right? You want to talk politics? We can talk politics. I didn't show up to make it nice and easy. We don't have the luxury of that. But if you want your city to run right, if you want your voice to be heard, if you want my average everyday citizens, which is why we're here today celebrating Second Chance Month, because now there's a new question. Well, why should you put a returned citizen in front of a campaign? Because I meant it when I said that I came forward so that the people can grow. But in order to do that, I've got to come and reestablish these bonds of trust because these leaders told you what you wanted to hear. And now here we are looking back, realizing something's amok. That's the politics. The only difference in this election and why it's so important is because the Republicans and Mr. Trump want our city. So while we're trying to reconcile what we still don't have, whether blue or red, we also have to fight to save our city. And so for me, as I said before on Fox 5, they can raise all the money they want. Money doesn't vote. People vote. And I came out to bet on my city because, like it or not, I am a Washingtonian. You are a Washingtonian, and these are the issues we have to deal with. Otherwise, our children going to keep failing. But you cannot leave people poor and living in slumlord properties and expect that we're going to have some kind of wonderful outcomes. We have to do it. They're not going to come and find us and give it to us. But what we cannot do and what we must do is stop electing the same leaders and pushing a record that they created yesterday when today the house is on fire and they've been down there leading. So it's time to elect real leadership. And as you can see, I get a little passionate about it because this is about details. This is about knowing the reality of the state of what DC is in. And everybody think they know the problem. Everybody want to fix it. But they're not educating you to tell you the real so that you can make a true decision. Love them all you want. But our city is a mess. The mayor's on her way out, and her legacy should be how many families she's ran out of this city because of gentrification and because how expensive it is to live here, right? I want to have a conversation about the real issues because I came forward to save our house. Yeah, so blue or red doesn't matter to me. And I've been independent since 2012 because when I looked at the numbers, we're not a blue city. We can't bring 50% of our electorate to the table to vote. So that means that we're ignoring our voters. We're not looking at the fact that they're just not satisfied with what you're bringing with your leadership. And so we go through this cycle where they show up and go on autopilot, show up and tell you the same thing, tell you what you want to hear, start telling you what they did for you. What does that mean? When people are still suffering today, when our young people still don't have what they need coming out of school, like we can have this conversation. But this is the time when our voices are supposed to matter. And that is why my campaign manager is in the front of my campaign, because I came out to talk to real people, not people that just want to jump and go along. And not that our voters are not real. What I'm saying, people with real issues, people that really want to hear that the leader is coming forward to help them and not just snow them. Right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the conversation. Yeah.
I want to get on one thing about public housing. Not only that we have an issue with affordable housing, we also have an issue with actually getting housing. You know what I'm saying? Like actually, because somebody may have like a below 600 credit score, or somebody that's like, I applied for an apartment complex that said they didn't do no credit check because I had a bad past. I suffered from not eviction, but I was actually kicked out of my house. I lost everything. I lost my job.
I'm sorry
my
to hear
business
that.
went on a downfall. Like and I never put my personal stuff out there, but my business went on a downfall like in 2021, 22. So I had to rebuild. So at that time, I was struggling to pay rent, take care of my household at that time. So, credit went bad, right? But now, what's going on now with my life, things are getting a lot better for me, but I cannot find a place to stay. Even though I make 2.5, they asking me for 2.5 times the rent. I make that, my credit bad, I can't still get the place. And then I be just kind of questioning myself, is the person telling me this, do they make 2.5 times the rent? Do they make 3 times the rent?
Let's talk about that. And I'm so glad you brought that up.
Is it going to be structural rules? I want to talk about affordable housing too, but I just want to know, is it going to be something that help us, we won't not be over criticized because we have a bad background check because our credit score 500. We have some, so even if you have an eviction on your letters, it's just it's crazy how many rules that DC allow these apartments
that part right there.
Right.
You said a true statement. DC allows. See, this is the thing about politics when you're not involved.
Yeah.
When you're not involved, you don't know how it's supposed to touch your life and help you be different, right? We need a leader such as myself with the political will to help our vendors and the folks that come in our our city to do business, help them to understand how it is that we need to make sure that more of our citizens are able to be housed. Did you remember when the headlines came out and said that a bunch of housing vendors were getting together and they were fixing the rate? They're fixing the rate to keep you out because gentrification is rampant, right? So you're not imagining this, and you and just like so many others that feel like you, that's going through. We're real people with real problems. That's why my campaign manager's in front of my campaign. Yeah. I want to talk to real people to understand that now is the time when you show up and you vote. You vote for a leader that understands and that's going to do something about it. When we got relationships with these housing vendors behind closed doors that help to keep us in office, you're not the priority. And these conversations don't happen enough. So to answer your question, there just simply needs to be a moratorium put in place that allows for a percentage of you all to be able to come through that have these situations. It's not everybody's situation, but you obviously want your government to work for you. You want to know that when you go through something bad, especially being a small business owner, you should have support, because our small business owners are employing at least half of our workforce. So it would benefit me as the leader of this government to make sure you're stable so you can help employ others. But if you're not stable, then you can't help us get our people to work. And that's a whole nother problem that we have. So that when I talk about the politics, when we don't truly understand it and we just let them kind of dictate it to us, we believe what they say because we need it to be real. And unfortunately, it's not. It's not. You're living it. It's not. But then here come time to vote, and because of what you're going through, you won't show up to vote. But if we don't vote, we can't change it. There is a fundamental plan in place in D.C., and it has been for quite some time, to drive families out of the city, certain families.
And that was the thing I brought up with that, because I feel like gentrification is not just targeting the poor blacks, it's targeting blacks period.
Exactly.
Because it's like, if I make enough money for a $2,800 a month place, what do I need $9,000 a month?
Well, let me tell you something. When I'm campaigning, I'm talking to all of DC citizens, and I have Europeans sharing with me that it's just too high to live in this city. Right. And they working every day, and they running businesses as well. So it's not about you falling on hard times. It's about making sure you have a government that's going to make sure that the numbers and the business doesn't drive you out. And the truth of the matter is that we have a problem here with our rental rates. We have a problem here with our vendors that come here to do business with our city that does not respect or recognize that our citizens need to know that they're going to be able to be housed. That is the government. That's on the government. And I'm going to tell you something. It's dividing us. This housing situation is dividing us. I have people that text me and say, well, Miss Rhonda, they should know they need to vote if they want anything to change. Or Miss Rhonda, the government can't do everything. It's not about the government doing everything. It's about the government setting standards so that you don't get pushed out.
Right.
So I hear you, and I hope that many of your viewers hear you, because we hold things in, right? We get so down because we can't afford, can't find housing, and we get quiet. And that's where I get concerned, because I'm a mental health advocate. Anybody worrying about housing and stability is going to be frustrated and depressed and anxious and go through some things. Doesn't mean you have a mental health problem. It means you have a temporary diminishment of your mental and emotional state, because why wouldn't you? Who wouldn't when you don't know where you're going to live? We got to get real about these things. And I came forward to get real about these things. You feel me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We're going to change the subject a little bit right here. So you brought it up a little bit. You said it was, right now it's April. April's going to be Second Chance Month. You know what I'm saying? For people who's convicted. We have right here, somebody had a pass right here. But you see right now, he's a campaign manager, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, people that are not familiar with you, you want to introduce yourself just briefly?
Yes, I'm James Hutchins. I am the campaign manager for Dr. Rhonda Hamilton for the D.C. mayoral election. Yeah. And yes, I am the guy for the job. I just got released May 8th of 2025. I think it's about 11 months ago.
11 months ago.
So, people got to understand that we here for a change. And right here, if this don't show you sweat and tears right here of change, She don't have me out here just being a person that people just see and say, oh, she went with the returning citizens. I'm with the mayor. I call her every day. I'm with her.
Right.
This is leadership.
Yeah.
And also somebody that trusts somebody like me. That's a 7-time felon. We changing the narrative now. Because everybody has a past, and the ones that don't get caught usually don't let their past be known. However, I'm one of those that take, my time and did my time and paid my, debt to society for the crimes that I may committed from my past. And now it's just,
Or may not.
or may not, because they add up, things on you when you are in the system. So that's why I tell a lot of the young guys, don't get in the system. Once you're in the system, they're gonna make you a number. And my number's 356-09016. That's a DC number when you go to the feds. So, I'm just here, we here for my candidate, Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. And I'm happy to be a returning citizen in this position, just to show others that it's a way when you around the right people and the right leadership that we need here in DC. And my candidate shows that by making me the campaign manager by itself. That's, it speaks for itself.
So before you go on, I want to just really give James his props and shout out again to all of our incarcerated and returned citizens and the families that support. DC, we don't have our own prison system here, so our brothers and sisters are across the nation incarcerated. In terms of coming home, they've got to jump through a lot of hurdles. Many of them have to come from Baltimore in order to try to come down here, get their things straightened before they go back, or else they'll be violated. So we talk about this recidivism rate, right? The reality of folks paying their debt to society and coming home, right? And not going back in. Well, as a society, as a government, we are saying that we want to put them to work. We're saying that, we want to help our returned citizens, but even the agency and the resources that we have in place currently are having trouble getting them housed, making sure they have employment, making sure that they can come back and reintegrate into their families. We got mental health and mental wellness understandings that they're not able to receive. And so when we fail them, we put them in a position to go back to consider their old ways, right? Surviving. When they have already done what they're supposed to do and come home, we're supposed to receive them and help them integrate, right? So I met James. I was introduced to James by a very trusted source of my base, right? And I've been dealing with people for many years, running businesses, teaching people to do real estate as well as insurance. And so I'm in front of a lot of people daily. James used to promote GoGo, right? And he did really well. Everybody knows how well GoGo is in our town and how popular you have to be to get that word out to make sure people show up. So right away I picked up on his people skills, right? James is a father of 8. He's been away. He's got to come back, and his children are all ages. And he needs to be able to, having paid his debt to society, needs to be able to have access to opportunities that's going to help him help his children understand that he made a mistake, and now he's able to turn around and do something different. So the reality is that what we have to do is remove the stigma about our returned citizens and our incarcerated citizens, and then on the other hand saying that we're going to help them, and then when we fail them, then society looks at them as if they're supposed to be in a certain box. I am a leader that came forward to say DC cannot change the state that we're in if we don't create opportunities. Now, does that mean everybody who comes home from being locked up is supposed to get opportunities in the political field? Yes, if they want to show up and learn and do the job and humble, right? I am a leader that recognizes that there is a divide in our city that needs to be removed. He needed an opportunity. He has the basics. He paid his debt. He's now got to go on and help his family. And he also has to come back and help our community. When our brothers and sisters get locked up, it is not just them that pay the price. It is not just their families that pay the price. Our communities pay the price. And so when we have this gentrification going on, we the nation seat of governance, people are not even from here, show up here with an agenda and get a better opportunity, and then we push our families out. No, that is not the type of leader I'm going to be. I came back to save our town and save the everyday citizens. I keep saying it every day. When people think about the nation's capital, they're thinking about our monuments, they're thinking about our lawmakers, they're thinking about our president. They're not thinking about you and I. And you and I better start talking and getting things going so that they can start talking about us, so they do know we're not going anywhere. So I put James in front of my campaign because I knew that he was going to work doubly hard to make sure that the everyday average Washingtonian knew that they needed to take a look at me. Because if I would take a chance on him, who in the world is going to tell you what I can do for you and your family? And that's what I want our citizens to understand about politics. All too often we sit looking at them on TV, but they're affecting our everyday life. I say it all the time. You may not do politics, but politics is doing you. So you're either going to come to the table and get involved, and let's go. Let's save our city. Let's put something on their mind, meaning down there at Congress, put something on Mr. Trump's mind as well as the world mind. This is our home. Many of us are generationally connected here. We're not going anywhere, and we're going to stop pushing families out of this city, and we can house them, and we will send them to work. But what we have to do is stop electing leaders that show up telling you what you want to hear, making a name for themselves, and then your lives are not changing. And if it's not your life that needs changing, what about your neighbor, cousin, mother, went to school with, co-worker? Everybody in this city knows somebody that's suffering. And I know that because I got workers from all different agencies calling me, Dr. Hamilton, we waiting for you. We ready. We putting the word out. People are tired of struggling. So it's time to rip the Band-Aid off, pull the curtain back, and get everyday Washingtonians back to the forefront so people can understand that this is our house. And if we do that and come together, maybe they wouldn't be so quick to try to take it from us, because we have no business to have these slumlords. We have no business to have these rodent-infested places. We have no business to have seniors living with mold. And we absolutely have no business locking up residents because they're trying to organize. See, there's a power struggle here, and the citizens are losing. But that stops on my watch. And that is why James is my campaign manager, because he can go wherever I'm going as long as he shows up, does the job, makes the effort, and puts in the work. The stigma must go away. We're either going to help them or we're not. And too many of them are not involved in politics. And I'm going to do something about that. Our children are in school and don't know what home rule is. So how can I put 300,000 Washingtonians on the step of Congress and tell them to leave us alone if my people don't know what's going on? We're going to change that, and James is going to help me do that. So all my returned citizens, I hope they see this and they bug the heck out of their officers on the unit. I want to know how I can vote. Your voice matters. James is in the forefront to remind you of that, because there are too many people every day that would have you to believe otherwise. Right. And that's what we came to break up. Good?
Yeah, love it.
Okay.
love it, definitely. I'm gonna talk about some current situations that's going on in the city. We're having a lot of these quote unquote DC takeovers.
The young people.
Yeah. To you. Just yesterday in the waterfront area, 8 teams were locked up. You know. I guess they assume, well, Navy Yard curfew zone is now over there, so we're gonna go next to the waterfront on the southwest side and cause havoc over there. And we're having a lot of these. And me personally, I don't think this is nothing new. Right. It's just the internet and
media,
TV.
Politics.
It's nothing new. We just did it. We just caused havoc at the go-go's. It wasn't outside in the middle of the street. But I do say this though. We do need something for our youth.
Absolutely.
And, for them something to do.
Absolutely.
I feel like a little is being done, but it's not really. I feel like we can do a lot more with the youth. And what ideas that you may have in plan for them? Because I feel like they're just bored now. And
absolutely. And let me say this too, and I love this question as well. We have to be very careful being in the nation's seat of governance to not understand. We have to understand that there are agendas at play, right? President stood on national TV and said that our young people are born to be criminals. He went unchallenged. None of my opponents that were serving on the council or otherwise stood up, spoke up, said anything. I have written Mr. President 6 letters since he's been in office to let him know that yes, our city is going through something, but we attribute it to the weakened leadership, and that you can have Ms. Bowser if that's who you're after, but you will not get our city, right? The truth of the matter is for our young people is that, one, you look at our school systems. I talked about this before. English language art. We're graduating them with 5.9% comprehension on a 100% scale. Only 2, and this is 12th graders, 2 schools, School Without Walls and Banneker. No surprise there, right? So when you put the combination of poverty, right, low outcomes coming from school, the fact that political agendas, everybody's in our town, no King's March, this rally or whatever, our youth want to be heard too, right? We're building stadiums and sitting at the table with billionaires, and we couldn't negotiate any scholarships, any internships, any opportunities for our young people. These were the same problems when we sat at the table. We find money to address the things that we want to address, and we're talking about this gentrification and pushing folks out of the city. How much longer you think the Republicans and Mr. President are going to keep watching us fail our young people? We run a $22 billion budget, right? And we have not been able to get our Department of Recs in order, our what do you call it, vocational education programs in the school systems. That's a quick fix. But maybe they don't want to fix it. Maybe they need a narrative to justify pushing more of our families out of the city. See, that's the politics. Okay, so now flip the script. What am I bringing in? What am I coming in with? We did a search, my team and I. We have at least 15, and here I go, now I'm a trade secret, so when my opponents start talking about it, you remember where you heard it first. We have about 15 various sports relationships in and around our city, right? These organizations are making money hand over fist. Why aren't we creating pathways for our young people to learn how to get involved with these industries and agencies? You can get a scholarship in golf, an internship, a caddy, and what have you, without even swinging a club. Golf is a $100 billion business. Why haven't we as a district government sat at the table with these businesses and talked about saving our young people? Talked about being able to create relationships that would allow us to have enough money to put vocational education back in our schools, internship programs back in our schools. Where's corporate America? We the nation's seat of governance. Why wouldn't we have relationships with 2 or 3 corporations so that they already have their programmings and recruitment set up in our school settings so these children already have a pathway? This is not rocket science. You have to have the willpower to want to see it be different. Or you got to understand the politics, the politricks that are at play. It's the nation's seat of governance. People want to do business with us. It's who we keep sending to the table to do our business. And that's what's so important about this election. Yes, we're going to do something with our young people. We're going to give them opportunities. We want them in the green industry, right? Many of them aren't going to go to school, go to college. But we know that all that money in the green industry, that's the life they're going to come up in. Why shouldn't they be prepared to have some kind of access to that now? We're not intending to do anything about our young people. We'll fund the violence interruption programs. Oh, she's touching that. Yeah, I'm touching that. Because how much violence are we really interrupting? What is the standard? Where's the bar? Some of these young people come out of households that are unhealthy. They don't want to be home. Where are all of the youth agencies that we spent part of this $22 billion on? Where are those programs? Are they touching the household? How about we rally them all up the next time we see something like this and we understand who's doing what? How about we bring people to the table and hold them accountable for the tax dollars that are being spent? We've been throwing money at things and giving you headlines and telling you that we're doing something. How much corruption been going on? There's a consequence when the money isn't spent for what it's meant to. Where are our Boys and Girls Clubs? I see lately we got to hold the parents accountable. I understand and I agree with that to a certain extent. I'm a mental health advocate. I've been in and out of these communities, in and out of these households. Some of these children are coming out of unhealthy households. So if you're going to fix the problem, you have to go to the root. But it's much easier to talk about it than to roll your sleeves up and do something about it. But I'm really concerned that being in the nation's capital and watching us save Ted Leonis in that situation over at that with that basketball team, and now I say that with the Wizards, I'm sorry, and then also with the RFK deal, I'm really concerned that we would sit at the table with billionaires and not create opportunities for our young people. Whether they're going to play sports, learn how to work in the front office. There's a business around sports. It's not just playing sports itself. How do we have all of these wonderful folks occupying our space? Tennis, golf, you name it. There's a discipline that comes with being involved in sports environments.
Even soccer.
All of them. Where's the midnight basketball leagues? Where are my opponents losing sleep to make sure it happens since they already down there serving? See, we got to elect the right kind of leaders and the type of leaders that are going to have vision and that understand that public government is always supposed to be about people. When we don't hold them accountable, they become superstars that don't solve the problem. And our lives stay the same. No, it's time to change. It's time to change. It's time to send a message to our Congress people, our president, the world, and the families and the young people that live here. We're going to get off of this train and we're going to move forward and take care of our families, because that's what's going to make DC whole and strong. And again, Second Chance Month, it's time for our Washingtonians to understand, brush the dirt off and come on, raise your voice, use the power of your vote, and get involved. Stop letting them tell you they're going to do something that you know they haven't done already. And don't miss your blessing because they screwed you.
Great question. Question: are you pro 51 or are you not? Or you're more so keep the District of Columbia the way it is, meaning that you want DC to become a 51st state?
You know what I'm a pro of? I'm a pro of making sure that regardless if they do, and I'm going to tell you about the statehood conversation in a minute. I'm an independent, so I got to keep it real. I got to bring some knowledge. What I'm concerned about is that in 1973, we were granted the right to self-govern. That's the home rule, right? And what that said was that DC was never meant to be a state. Right. We were just supposed to house our lawmakers and our historical sites, right? Monuments. They brought our ancestors and forefathers over here involuntarily. So they built the city, they built the White House, built the Capitol, slaves, right? They raised their families. We 3, 4, 5 generations. When they prepared the Constitution, they weren't prepared for that. But we're here. We matter. We have rights. DC is bigger than 2 of the 50 states plus the 2 territories. Wyoming and Vermont. We pay more federal income tax per capita than most of the states, right? This war and when any other wars come about and our young men and women have to go off to the military, DC also stands up to help support this country. But we are the only ones uniquely in the position that we're in where we face the threat of being taken over because Congress oversees everything that we do. So the danger of that is whoever's in charge of the White House, whoever's in charge of the House of Representatives and the Senate, which it happens to be the Republicans, now that puts our independence in jeopardy. So we watch citizens from another country that are in support of their independence, that we're bombing down Iran and fighting for their independence. I sat in a luncheon last week where at least a dozen congressmen from both sides of the aisle, red and blue, said that they stood in support of Iran's citizens' independence. Well, you will not support independence for other citizens from other countries, and then when it comes to the independence of DC, not support ours, right? So that's number one. We have to make sure that no matter who's being elected, which party is winning, that the citizens of DC and the city of DC will never be in jeopardy of being taken over. We have to take that off the table. Now, statehood. We should be a 51st state. I would love to see that. However, just looking at the math and looking at the politics of it all, I think it's going to take us a little longer to do so. And I want to make the point. We didn't get it under the Blue Party. When the Blue Party was in charge, we didn't get statehood. When the Red was in charge, we didn't get it. It's not that I'm not for it. I just don't like them using these buzzwords to get everybody all worked up. Where the nations see the governance, agendas come in, and that's how you get everybody excited, and then we don't get it, and then it gets quiet, and then lives go back to being how they are. No, that's not acceptable. The reason why I don't think we'll get statehood is because we have too much real estate that the federal government occupies and don't give money to us for. And they already fighting about not giving money. And I'm watching the Democrats cross the aisle on issues that they shouldn't be crossing the aisle on. And I just happen to believe that we, the citizens of D.C., we shouldn't have to be pawns in their political game. We've got to shore up our house, get our children through school, get them working, get our returned citizens, our veterans, get our people out of the street, make sure our seniors are not pushed out, make sure our hospitals and the health care are of a higher standard and quality. We got work to do in this city. We have no business being this weak. We've won a $22 billion budget. But somebody went to sleep and they decided that they knew best, and here we are. So that has to stop. Of course I want to see us secure statehood, but I don't like showing up to the table for something as important as our independence with a one-dimensional plan. So either you give us statehood or you amend the Constitution that says that this congressional body has the right to allow, or this president can come in and take us over, or threaten to take us over. That has to stop. The imposition of trauma and people being afraid of not knowing what comes next, that's no way for anybody to have to live. And it's important that we realize we're the only ones uniquely in that position. And how ridiculous is that when our forefathers and ancestors built Washington, D.C.? I don't think you're ready.
I think that was the reason why I asked that question. Yeah, because it was like, when the whole situation with Trump came down here, it seemed like he was about to become the mayor of D.C.
Yeah, he tried.
It just seemed like he was getting ready to have a federal takeover of D.C. And I think that's what he was trying to implement, that he was trying to have. He was trying to take the current mayor out of control. And I'm like, just complete out of control. I'm like, and I didn't understand the importance of why people wanted D.C. statehood. You know what I'm saying? Now I understand the importance of it, but I also think like this probably not going to happen no time soon.
Well, and one thing I should say, because I don't want my academics out there, oh, she thinks she knows. She didn't say this. Let me just point out, if to become a state, we would pick up 2 additional seats on the congressional side, and they don't want that because that would give us the edge against the Republicans. So again, we're being pawns in their games while our livelihood is continually up and hanging in the balance. That needs to end. And the way you end that is the voices of the Washingtonians show up to let them know we're not asleep, we're educated, and we've paid our debt to society, and we're back to stand with our citizens. You cannot have our town. Okay? So again, I come from a sales background, and I've said it before, the strongest part of your strategy is knowing your opponent. And right now we're weak, and that's what Mr. Trump saw. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. Mm-hmm. You know, they knew we were weak, but in all honesty, because we're a diverse city, and I hear it, I understand, we're the nation's seat of governance. We should not have trash hanging everywhere. We should not have rodent-infested communities. We should not have people ducking bullets, even though across the nation, many cities are going through that. But just as we were raised as people of color, we were told we got to work 3 times harder to get anything done or to be respected, just because that's the way it was. We're the nation's seat of governance. And even though things are happening across this nation, we have a responsibility to set the example, especially knowing that we're sitting so weak and so unique in the fact that we could be threatened to be taken over. Right. So we're supposed to do better and be better. And that's why we got to elect stronger leaders, because if we don't, they're not going to stop until they take it from us. They don't want us to have it. Yeah.
I love the passion though.
Yeah. You know, and it's important because, you know, I wasn't prepared, I must say, and hats off to you. Hats off to all of you all that keep the word going. At least I know where they at. At least I know where they're talking. At least I know how to find them, right? But I really want to get this political message out to them. I do understand that the trust is a challenge for many people, but I say the best way to find out if you can really trust somebody, come out here and walk this walk with me. Come out here and have these conversations with citizens across the 8 wards that I'm having. And we get to do that for 7 more months. This is a 4-quarter game, and my opponents are trying to tie it up in 2 quarters with all of the news media and all of the. I'm not silly enough to fall for that, because you got too many people not voting, too many people still undecided, too many people that just gave up. I don't want them to give up. It's so important. We need everybody voting 18 years and older. And that's why we're out here still on this ground, making sure they're registered to vote. And if you're not, www.dcboe.org, register to vote. Okay, you have to. If you want your voices to matter, my young people out there, my groups that are organizing young people, reach out to me. We can do this together. Use my platform to help us get the word out that you guys stand with saving the city. My opponents are running the same old game, going through the same old politics, like our house isn't in trouble. This is bigger than where they are with it. If we lose our house, who are you going to talk to about the bus stops that you're concerned about? Who are you going to talk to about when your SNAP goes away? See, it is important that we maintain our local right to govern, because I got small businesses like you and individuals and families that need somebody in that seat to make sure that these housing vendors understand that they're going to have to make sure our people are housed, period. And we got to do something. We've got to audit these agencies. We got to audit our monies so we understand just how much damage Ms. Bowser and this council has truly done. As long as they keep us snow, we're going to keep on believing that we can't get things done. And that's why Mr. Trump and the Republicans remain a threat. So this is important. This election is important. And I'm going to make them play every quarter of this game. This is a 4-quarter game. The big election is always in November, and we've got time.
Definitely. I want to, and I thought it was a very good idea, and I brought up, there's somebody that's running for council named Addison Stoddard. He brought up a genius idea that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Basically was, I can't even think about it.
$0 down and $700 a month.
I
Yeah.
love that idea. How do you feel about that idea? And then what do you think maybe you can add on to or improve it in a way?
I think it's a wonderful idea. And you know why I think it's, Mr. Sauter and I have spoken, we've met and we've, talked about it. He tried to get it on the voting ballot. And technicalities, logistics, right? And so I reached out in order to tell him, come on to the campaign. You don't have to stop. You can still push this forward. He's looking at the idea of us, the same money that DC spends every year. If you look at the council and the mayor, they come up with the budget. Housing Production Trust Fund, right? We have policies that says that we're supposed to produce so many houses each year. Right? And we put money in that Housing Production Trust Fund to do so. His position was, instead of using that money to build rental houses, use that money to build home ownership opportunities. And so obviously DC is pretty dense, but we have a lot of land. So there needs to be a full plan laid out, understanding how you're going to get it done. And then you're also going to have to understand appropriations from the council, the legislative branch. They're going to have to determine how much money is needed to make that happen. And then thirdly, you need to understand the execution of it. There has to be an actual piece of legislation that lays out how you get that done. So it's not that we can't get it done, just in the sense that he brought it forward. It wasn't necessarily ready to go on the ballot to be voted on, but it certainly is something that we as a city should be looking at. And here's the interesting thing about that. Years ago, Caucasian families were offered zero money down and $700 a month in the suburbs while we stayed in the ghettos, in the projects. So knowing your history, being defiant about showing up to do something about it is very important. And that's what I respect about Mr. Sauter. And that's what I want to see James help us do with the campaign. That's why second chances are so important. Our people can't be left out. There's too much work for us to do. And if we don't get the right people involved, we're going to keep getting the same kind of leadership telling you, reminding you what they did 10 years ago, as if it's still working today. We know different. Yeah, I think that $0 down, $700 a month is great. It's going to hit well. And as the next mayor, Mr. Sauter, if he's not successful in his campaign, he will certainly be someone that I will bring in and sit at the table.
I definitely love that idea. Definitely right there. What's one thing that you want to address? Like, what's one major criticism that I haven't brought up that you want to address?
Let's see. I think there are many people that still don't understand why I would run independent because for whatever reason they believe that the Democrats, they're going to do it. And I want people to understand that as a registered independent, I want my vote to be earned. And what I mean by that, when I go in that voting booth to vote, I want to be sure that who I'm voting for, that they've answered for me why they earned my vote. And it will not be about my party. With the Democrats, they automatically assume your vote and you go into the primary and then you start getting the calls and they put the whole strategy together and it sounds so great and we're Democrat. And then the elections go away and then real life hit. And then my seniors are worried all over again. And then you call downtown, you can't get anybody. And then you go down and try to set a meeting for them and they won't take your meeting. But they were very excited for you when they were running for office. And it's like we're in this cycle. It's okay. It's okay to make them earn it. See, I can still go in there and vote Democrat or Republican. I would never really, but if that person earned it, because I would never say never. Years ago, the blacks were the Republicans, right? We have got to do our homework, and if we're not going to do the homework, we got to align ourselves with someone that we trust enough to get it done. James didn't know politics. What James knew is that he don't have a problem being on the ground promoting, speaking with people, and once he understood what my platform was about, he wanted to be a part of that. That's enough to get started. That's enough to get started. I have some wonderful, intelligent people around me. People that stand 10 toes down for me. They know what I'm going to do when I get down to that Wilson building. They know what I've been doing the whole time I've been at the Wilson building. We've been shutting down bridges, holding town halls. Mr. Mendelson and Mr. Swab over at the OAG know me well. The Marbury Plaza folks got a settlement. Who do you think was down there organizing them? Who do you think down there was telling the city that mental health was real? People suffering with those types of housing conditions are going to have some mental health challenges, and you need to be accountable to them and their children. You know why our children can't perform well, many of them? Because they're coming out of communities with slumlord realities. Truancy, who wants to go to school and you ain't got what you need? Or you embarrassed because you couldn't take the bath last night. See, we don't realize this because guess what? The other side of the city or the other neighborhood, maybe that's not their reality. But see, I come from a DC where we used to care about community. And even if it wasn't happening to me, if it was happening to you, it wasn't right. And we wanted to do something about it. And so we got to stop all these agendas coming in our town, dividing us, acting like we don't know how to be. Our children need us. Our seniors need us. Our families need us. Our small businesses need us. Our returned citizens need us. We are community, right? And it's time to get back to being communities. I think for me, too many people are focused on whether or not I'm an independent or Democrat. I grew up in Southeast Washington, D.C., Chesapeake Terrace, cross from St. Thomas More, ran the city all over the place. I inherited my party from my family, too. I was Democrat before I knew. But I could not keep going in and out of those houses and watching the failures continuously and having the promises be broken and act like I was just going to look the other way. If you knew me, you would know that about me. I'm going to get something done, or else I'm going to die trying. So look me up, get to know me, and you'll understand that about me. So I think that's the biggest myth, is the fact that, we got past the money thing. I told them money don't vote. So, I love to raise some more money. Matter of fact, donate. All this talking on this second interview, I need some donations. 10 people giving $10 is $100. 1,000 people, you got a pretty heavy feed. I mean, you ain't got to trust me. Just check me out. $10 just in case I know what I'm talking about, right? Get on the right side of this. Rhonda Hamilton, the 4dc.com. Get involved and be a part of history. History because our people haven't stood up and stood together and made a point since we put Barry back in there after he came home from being locked up. And everybody around the world want to know, why will we lock up the crackhead mayor or whatever? They can call him what they want as long as they spell his name right, because they don't know what he means to us. And he showed us government can work and be about the people, but the people got to show up. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
James? I want him to have the last word too, because Second Chance Month,
Yes.
my brothers and sisters in there, and they looking and they want to know, and we've been so excited to do this interview. Let me just say that he's being real humble. He's been so excited to do this interview because he really wants you guys to understand, one, that there is a sense of pride of coming out and not having to be recognized with a label. Number two, he's a good father, good stand-up man, and honorable is his word. And I want to go on the record so we don't have to keep addressing this. It is very stigmatizing to call someone a convict after they paid their debt to society. And many of us have our own family members that have gone to jail. I think the footprint in D.C. is something like 60,000 at least have had priors. See, this is our town. When people move in and try to make it about their agendas, then they turn us against one another. I just came forward because I am D.C., period. And it's time to save D.C. So with that said, thank you so much for agreeing to walk with me. We got 7 more months to turn this city upside down. And we're going to make history.
Yes.
And then we're going to open the door for a whole lot more of us.
One last question.
Yes.
One last question. So I know you're gonna probably most likely be participating in the debate with your contenders.
Yes.
What's gonna be some hard questions you may have for your contenders? I watched the last one with the previous one with Bowser, and I can't think of his name at the moment. But what would say would be your arguments?
I think for me, I'm glad. You know what? God is so good. I could not get out of here without acknowledging.
Because you're independent and you're going to be going against.
Whoever's standing.
Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
In some cases, maybe 2 Democrats. We don't
know.
No.
The only way he can come back is only way they can come back is come back as an independent. Now, see, that's something to watch. See, you're so good at what you do.
Yeah.
It is so hypocritical to have people rile up and say, "Oh, you got to be Democrat, got to be Democrat." But one of my opponents, when he didn't make it Democrat, switched up and became independent. So why is it okay to be independent when it benefits you to come back and before the voters, but all of a sudden it's party. So we're watching them play musical chairs. I just watched a Republican candidate who did not make the primaries. So now all of a sudden she's an independent. So we got to watch that. So when you talk about politics and what's going on, these are the conversations we want to have. But I would be remiss if we don't get out of here and I address your question, which is Mayor Bowser says that if you like her, you're going to love Kenya McDuffie. So, game on. If he makes it through or comes back in. When we do those debates, what I want to understand is why would you think that the 81 times wealth gap widening on your watch is not something you're supposed to be accountable for? I mean, you showed us a list of what you did yesterday, and thank goodness for the NEAR Act. It's great. But to push that was passed in 2016, it's 2026, and I still got returned citizens coming home who are hungry, who don't have housing, who need a job, who have mental health challenges. So I guess it's time to update that policy. Okay? So the reality of this is that you can like who you like, but if Muriel Bowser's track record for helping the community and helping to push citizens out is as poor as it is, why would she think that we would love more of that? So I want to see my opponents clarify, and not just Mr. McDuffie. My other, since I said his name, Miss George, she's another opponent who's currently serving on the council. I just got a call. She's in Ward 4, a resident, house raining down, water everywhere, can't get any help. You ask why we're not going to be a council member? Why about the council members that's in there do their job and let vision, new leadership come in and help them? They don't deserve a promotion when things are as bad as it is, and it's on Mayor Bowser's watch. And then she says, if you like her, you'll love him. That is disconnect. So for me in those debates, it will be pointing out the reality that our children, our schools, most of our district agencies are not properly being run, our seniors, the fact that housing is still a problem, and the fact that I gave you just a little while ago. She met her goal of 36,000 housing units, but we moved just that many and more out of the city. Who's going to be accountable for that? They just want to run for office and get promotions, and you love them and they tell you these things. Let's look at the facts. It is not personal. I love this city just as much as anybody else. But it is time for us to do something different if we want something different. And in my day, you didn't talk about it, you had to be about it. So with that said, that's what I'm looking forward to. And thank you for letting me to reflect on that.
Any word?
Yes, man. It's Second Chance Month. Y'all looking at history right here. You know, I'm one of those guys, people know me from wherever they know me from. I show you better than what I can tell you. I'm a proven winner. I don't like to lose. So, with that being said, we here to win this thing. D.C. Mayor, Dr. Rhonda Hamilton. So all you all that's out there that ain't voting, don't think politics, don't do politics, well, like my candidate says all the time, stop allowing politics to do you. Because it's been doing us for a long time. And now it's time for us to get out here and get in those voting polls.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to rally, man. You know, at the end of the day, Second Chance Month is here. Y'all see me right here sitting next to the D.C. candidate, mayoral candidate. I was just in the TV room in the Feds. Last April, I was probably celebrating my birthday in the Feds last year around this time. So I like to let everybody know that it can happen through us, through me. Let me be your motivation and inspiration. But like I say, I could tell you less, I could show you better than what I could tell you. Y'all see what it is. Y'all see we here to win this thing. We're not here to get no popularity. We've been past all that. This ain't popularity. We had that time. This is time for leadership and change in this city. This city deserves that.
Absolutely.
It's enough people out there who word don't feel like it's getting heard at all. But we always have the sideline conversations talking all the time, speculating on what it should be, how it should be, how we need to run this, how we don't want her, whoever, anybody but not Bowser in there. We hear it all. It's time to show up. Donations. We need donations to run the campaign.
Yep.
You make sure you go to that website, www.rhondafordc.com.
Rhonda Hamilton, the number 4, DC.com. See, we human. We back each other up, though.
And we live with this. So, you know, this ain't no scripted situation. This is real life, you all. I want you all to just look at it and just think about it. She gave me a chance. What you think she gonna do for you? On some real.
Yeah.
7-time convicted felon.
7-time convicted felon. Yes, district court, big boy court, what we call it. Not Superior Court, not the 007 guys, the 016 guys. We call that big court, district court. You know, everything in D.C. is fair, but that's where the big boys go, district court. When you go in there, you don't hear no noise. That's the scary part about district court. It's quiet and it look brand new.
Yeah.
However, like I say, I'm here. I appreciate my candidate giving me the opportunity and the chance to be me, to be who I am. She trusts on what I do and what I show and how I do things with leadership and trustworthy, making ways and making shows and showing people an example. I'm an example. I'm in full compliance with my federal probation right now. I'm actually about to get off federal probation sooner than later. I got a 3-year federal probation term. However, they put me in newsletters for district court federal probation for being in compliance. This is real, y'all. This is not something that we just sitting here and we just advocating just for popularity or just to be here. We need change in D.C. and it's the time right now.
Yeah.
The old is out. The new is coming in. So, like I say, I can show y'all better than I can tell you. Thank you, Dr. Rhonda Hamilton, for giving me the opportunity. You gave me of a lifetime of a new career of me. I am a politician.
You in politics. You got to declare candidacy to be a
I
politician.
am a politic. I'm not allowing politics to keep doing me.
That's right.
Like some of you all should be. Just use me as motivation and inspiration. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
My candidate is the #1 choice for DC to make a change. And please remember, www.RhondaHamilton4DC.com.
Amen. And you know, James, you said some real stuff. Second Chance Month. Sometimes we get into things that we're not familiar with, we don't have experience with, but we have the initiative, right? That's a word that I want you all to remember, initiative. And if you let the opportunities pass you and you don't take a chance, then you'll never know what you can do. I gave James a chance. Exposed him to the opportunity. Now he has an opportunity to take it to a level that he can for himself and for his family. That's all we should be offering any of our citizens when we start talking about second chance. It's time to represent that instead of just talk about that. There is a standard and everybody's required to hold it. But you want an opportunity, because if you don't have an opportunity, then you never will be able to escape the labels. You heard James say 7 times felon. I didn't see a 7 times felon. I saw a man that had paid his debt to society, that was a wonderful father, that has some skill sets, that if given an opportunity, he could elevate that. There's no reason why you can't do the same. And that's what it looks like when we work together. So it's yours to lose, Mr. Hutchins. And right now you're knocking it out the park. Okay?
Thank you, man.
There's a standard that we must keep. I know you're going to see him post some things. You're going to see me post some things. There are all kinds of people. But if you're looking through the lens of the stigma because of where he's come from, you will never see how great he is and where he's going to go. And I know he's not going to let himself down or his family, and much less me. So let's start having some real conversations. Let's start working together to save our city. And if there's something you need to know about me, please call me, 202-486-6037. Visit that website. But don't take it out on my campaign manager. He's honestly excited for the opportunity. And I am a leader who believes in second chances. So let's start talking about the issues, because I'm ready.
Last thing I want to say, count time, work time. If you know, you know.
And thank you for having us again.
Yeah, no question.
Your platform is awesome.
It's controversial, balls.
No, great, phenomenal.
Running for office, and we didn't have controversy, we wouldn't be relevant. And I didn't come out here to be quiet, so thank you.
No question. I think I really appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely hopefully, I'm definitely going to attend the debate. I'm definitely going to watch that. I'm definitely going to watch everything that you guys got going on. I definitely love everything that you got going on at this moment.
Awesome.
Thank
and
you,
we're going to
brother.
do something about what you're going through, because I got to help me get some of them youngins off there. And they like what you do too. And so we have opportunity. You know, we just got to move that money amount around in the right spaces, so that people like you that are doing the work, that are true resources, can truly come to the table to help us. That's another reason why we're seeing this with the young people. We're not using that money the way we should be, and we're not accountable for getting the proper return on our investments. So we're going to work together. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much.
www.RhondaHamilton4DC.com.
You on toast?
Donate.
Let's go.
Let's
All
go.
the way. November 2026.
Let's go.
Let's go, DC. Let's go.
Thank you. You got it.
All righty, guys. Thanks for tuning in Instagram. I'm going to check all my comments. Sorry we're late. It was a lot going on. It's Easter, and you know. But thank you so much. Please share the feed. Let's go, DC. Let's go. To all my incarcerated and returned citizens and the families that support them.